Hello everyone, I'm Joey, and welcome back. Let me ask you something. Have you noticed that grabbing a 12-pack of your favorite soda doesn't feel as cheap as it used to? Maybe you went to the grocery store expecting to spend $10 or $12. But when you looked at the price tag, you thought, wait, when did soda become this expensive? It's a simple question. But the answer reveals something much bigger than a soft drink. In fact, the price of a single can of soda tells a fascinating story about inflation, global supply chains, manufacturing, transportation, and consumer behavior. And here's the surprising part. The soda inside the can is not the most expensive part. So, what are you really paying for? Let's find out. Most people assume that soda companies raise prices simply because they want to make more money. While every business wants to be profitable, that's only one piece of the puzzle. Think about everything that has to happen before you open a cold can of soda. The ingredients must be produced, the water has to be purified, the syrup has to be manufactured, the cans or bottles have to be made. Everything has to be packaged, transported, stored, and delivered to thousands of stores across the country. Every step costs money. And when several of those costs increase at the same time, the final price usually goes up too. Let's start with something many people never think about. The can itself. Take a look at a soda can. It feels light, simple, almost inexpensive. But producing millions of aluminum cans is a massive industrial operation. Aluminum requires mining, refining, manufacturing, and a great deal of energy. When energy prices rise, producing aluminum becomes more expensive. And if the can costs more to make, every can of soda becomes more expensive before it's even filled. Now imagine billions of cans being produced every year. Even a small increase in manufacturing costs adds up to millions of dollars. But not everyone buys cans. Many people buy plastic bottles instead. Those bottles are made from petroleum-based materials. That means oil prices can also influence the cost of packaging. If the price of raw materials increases, bottle production becomes more expensive. And once again, consumers eventually see higher prices on store shelves. Now let's talk about the drink itself. People often assume sugar is the biggest cost. In reality, it's only one part of a much larger recipe. Sweeteners, flavorings, carbonation, water treatment, preservatives, and quality control all require specialized facilities and equipment. Then there are the factories. These plants operate almost around the clock. They consume enormous amounts of electricity. They use sophisticated machinery, and they employ thousands of workers. If electricity becomes more expensive, or wages increase, operating those factories costs more. Now imagine what happens after the soda leaves the factory. It doesn't magically appear in your local supermarket. It has to travel, sometimes hundreds, even thousands of miles. Large trucks carry pallets of soda to warehouses. From there, more trucks deliver them to grocery stores, convenience stores, restaurants, gas stations, and vending machine suppliers. Here's something interesting. Soda is mostly water, and water is heavy. That means transporting soda is more expensive than transporting many other packaged products. The heavier the shipment, the more fuel it takes to move, so when diesel prices increase, the shipping costs rise almost immediately. And because transportation is a major part of the supply chain, higher fuel costs often end up affecting the final retail price. But here's where the story gets even more interesting. If soda has become more expensive, why do millions of people keep buying it? That's the question that explains everything. Despite higher prices, demand has remained surprisingly strong. People still buy soda for family dinners, birthday parties, sporting events, movie nights, road trips, and everyday meals. For many consumers, it's a habit. And when demand stays high while production and distribution become more expensive, companies have more room to pass some of those higher costs on to consumers. So, is inflation the only reason soda costs more? Or are there other hidden factors most people never hear about? The answer might completely change the way you look at your next trip to the grocery store. So, if packaging, ingredients, and transportation all play a role, why don't soda prices come back down once those costs improve? The answer is more complicated than most people think. Many companies sign long-term contracts for ingredients, packaging, and transportation. That means they often continue paying older prices even if market conditions begin to improve. In addition, businesses rarely change retail prices every week because it creates confusion for stores and customers. But there's another reason: consumer behavior. Imagine a company raises the price of a 12-pack by $1. If customers continue buying almost the same amount, there is little pressure to lower that price later. Economists call this inelastic demand. Some products become part of people's daily routines. For millions of Americans, soda is one of them. Whether it's lunch, a barbecue, a football game, or a family gathering, many people still put soda in their shopping cart despite paying more than they did a few years ago. Now think about the supermarket itself. Grocery stores also face higher operating costs. They pay for electricity to keep refrigerators running. They pay employees. They pay rent, insurance, maintenance, security, technology. All of those expenses are part of running a modern store. Every product on the shelf helps cover those costs, including soda. Restaurants and fast food chains face similar challenges. When you buy a fountain drink with your meal, you're not paying only for the liquid. You're also paying for the cup, the lid, the straw, the ice, the machine that dispenses the drink, the employee who serves it, and the building where it's sold. That explains why a soda that costs relatively little to produce can sell for several dollars at a restaurant. You're paying for the entire service, not just the beverage. Another important factor is branding. The world's largest soda companies invest billions of dollars in advertising, sponsorships, product development, and global distribution. From the commercials you watch during major sporting events to the refrigerators filled with cold drinks at convenience stores, those investments are part of what keeps their products visible everywhere. While marketing isn't the main reason prices increase, it is one of the many costs built into every can and bottle sold. So, will soda ever become much cheaper? It depends. If packaging materials, transportation costs, and manufacturing expenses continue to stabilize, price increases could slow down. But that doesn't necessarily mean prices will return to where they were years ago. Once businesses adjust to higher operating costs, prices often settle at a new normal instead of returning to previous levels. The bigger lesson is that the price of a soda reflects far more than sugar and carbonated water. It represents manufacturing, packaging, energy, transportation, labor, retail operations, consumer demand, and the complex supply chain that connects factories to millions of homes across the country. The next time you grab a cold soda from the refrigerator at the grocery store, remember that you're looking at much more than a simple drink. You're looking at the story of today's economy. Sometimes the best way to understand inflation isn't by reading complicated financial reports. It's by looking at the everyday products we buy without thinking twice. And that's exactly why economics matters. Because it helps explain the hidden story behind ordinary things. If you enjoyed this explanation and want more easy-to-understand videos about why everyday products are becoming more expensive and what it means for your wallet, make sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.